Namaste. Zanoni Snowflake here. We just called in the numerology energies of the month and the year. 9 for the month and 4 for the year. If you've been with us on this journey today, then you may have embraced the first energy empowerment guidance of the moon in Aquarius transit, where we had Fibonacci intervals of the tuning forks. 8 over so using the 1 over 1 to create the interval, with 8 over 13, 1 over 2, a half, and 2 over 3, 2/3, and 21 over 34, phi, the golden ratio. We also had the 64 Hertz, the weighted Otto, to balance the left and right vagus nerve, the peripheral and central nervous systems, with the C and G, which create the perfect fifth. Just those used on their own, the perfect fifth, the C and the G, in your ears in a few minutes can create a brain wavelengths and a trance-like state of meditation that can take 30 minutes to 45 minutes. If you then embraced the monthly energies of the Sun in Libra transit, you would have had the tuning fork sound healing of the blood, the kidneys, the bladder and the adrenals. So now with the season equinox energies, spring if you're in, not spring if you're in summer, spring if you're in the southern hemisphere, and autumn if you're in the northern hemisphere. So now we're going to have the heart chakra to bring us into our heart, and the heart is strengthened by the chakra below if you're someone with the energy coming up from the ground. What we mean by that is you're someone that's more in tune with being in touch with Mother Earth, nature, plants. You're very grounded and in your body. If you're someone that's more used to the energies coming down, you might be you're probably more of an academic or intellectual, and you're more creative, artistic, and it'll be the throat chakra. It's the ones either side of the heart chakra. But we're all physical manifestations of dis-ease or ailments are manifested from the lower 3 chakras, red, orange and yellow. The root chakra, Muladhara, the second chakra and the sacral chakra, and the third chakra, which is the yellow, the solar plexus. The second chakra, orange, the sacral, also correlates to the moon energies, the yin, the feminine, the receptive internal world. And the sun is the masculine, the yang, the solar plexus, the yellow, the external world, external expression. And earth is the root chakra. So we're just going to do all 4 of those together. Nope, I'm hearing that's not how we're doing it. How are we doing it? We're just going to start with the heart on its own, and then we're going to bring in the heart with the solar plexus. Then we're going to bring in the heart with the solar plexus and the root chakra, and then we're going to bring in the heart with, I'm not sure, we'll just have to do it and see what happens. I don't think it goes straight to 4. I think it goes 1, 2, 3, take out the solar plexus, bring in the orange, and then bring in the solar plexus. Okay, I think we've got that. We'll go with the intuition as it happens. So I invite you, you can close your eyes or you can do an open-eyed meditation and looking at the picture, which is the 6 of water. 6 is the number of unconditional love, harmony. Or you can do a closed eye meditation to bring you into your body more and your internal world and your internal senses. Bringing your awareness to your breath. Exhaling all your breath out. So you can take in a long, deep inhalation. Okay. Being aware of the gentle pause, retention at the top of your inhalation before you exhale. Exhaling slowly and softly and gently. Being aware of the gentle pause and retention at the bottom of your exhalation. Breathing out a little bit more of another gentle pause of attention. A little bit more until you naturally, slowly, softly, gently inhale. You can inhale through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose and out through your nose. And if you really need some oxygen, extra oxygen into your body, like a yawn, you can inhale through your mouth and out through your mouth. Or in through your mouth and out through your nose. Different breath patterning like this relates you into, there's different ones for the fire, air, water, earth, elemental breathing, it's called. You can bring in shaking medicine, the oldest and newest form of natural healing, alternative healing, where your body goes into a natural ecstatic shake. We dance with the subtle shaking to reach the subtle energetic body. And having a sigh or making some sound on your exhalation. And if you really want to challenge yourself and bring yourself into sound and your body and your breath, attempt sounding on your inhalation. You can do it from your throat when your mouth is closed, where you inhale through your nose and try and sound. Or you can do it with your mouth open and do it from your nose. Or you can do it with your mouth open, inhaling through your mouth and making the sound. So that you can actually eventually do a constant sounding in and out, in and out. And then you might even be able to sing when you're inhaling. So you'd be able to constantly sing on an inhalation and sing on an exhalation. And you can move the tongue around in your mouth as well, so it's on the bottom of your mouth, the top of your mouth and the ridge, the top of your mouth at the back. It can be on the sides of your teeth, inside on your jaw, or it can be on the sides of your lips, around your lips, and this is mouth yoga. And this is what we've been using to tone up and exercise and move and guide the energy on our internal body, our organs. So, enough information there. If we ever, when we talk, you'll receive more if you can learn to listen from your body, your whole body, your right brain hemisphere, 95% of you, your heart, and not attempt to understand it from your left brain, because you'll receive more from it doing it that way, but you might not necessarily consciously understand it yet, but you will consciously understand it when you're meant to, and this is being gentle and not pushing ourselves too much. The power of the subconscious mind. Keeping your awareness on your breath, your body, the sensations. The temperature of the breath through the nostrils is keeping you aware on the breath and your body sensations, because you're using the feeling of touch to notice the temperature difference between the inhalation and the exhalation, and what part of the passageway of the nostrils the air is inhaled on and what part of the passageway of the nostrils the air is exhaled on. Noticing these subtler sensations is another way of accessing your subtle energetic body. If you want to sound ah, that will also connect you into your heart, and you can also put your hands on your heart in whatever way is comfortable for you. We do angel wings where we interlock our thumbs, because when we interlock our thumbs, we're bringing the left and the right brain hemispheres together, and so the central nervous system and the spinal cord at the top there and below the cerebellum. So we're just going to start with some information on the autumn equinox and spring equinox energies. The first bit is information that we've learnt from our the Lunar Living Autumn Equinox online retreat of meditation and yoga. Shedding the past. Just as nature is showing you, now is the time for shedding, releasing and letting go. Trees actively shed their leaves as there is no use for them anymore. Let them inspire you to do the same. One of the main reasons we grip and cling so tightly as humans is through fear. Fear of what will happen if we let go. Fear there is nothing else out there. Fear that we will no longer be safe or taken care of. But just like the trees, know with their leaves, holding on to something that is no longer working or bringing nutrients can cause stagnation, even damage, and prevents new life coming through. It prevents flow and moving in cycles and rhythms. It prevents us from fully living. Be inspired by nature all around us to drop what is no longer working for us, to allow new life to come through. Take this time to reflect over not only the past year, but also over our life, to see what we have been holding on to, what has been draining our resources, and what needs to be let go of, and finally released so that we can move into autumnal new beginnings, or spring new beginnings if you're in the southern hemisphere. But these ones are more referring to the autumn. Inner harvest. The autumn equinox is a time of magic. All around us, nature is putting on the most beautiful display of rich light and colour. Golds, oranges, reds and yellows surround us. This is the time that the heat of summer has started to wane, and the harvest is being brought in to sustain us for winter. And that's what this beautiful festival is asking us to do too. This is a time of giving thanks for all that we have, celebrating all that the summer and year so far has brought us, and honouring the abundance of growth that has taken place in our life. As we reap our inner harvest, this will give us a strong foundation to support us through the darkness and depths of winter, giving us the resilience to face the darkness, not just on the outside, but also on the inside. Use this time to return back to the tender places within us that we have turned away from or left unattended through the summer, to find gratitude in the blessings and burdens, and to restore a sense of balance back into our life. What are we most grateful for in this moment, right now? Take a moment to close your eyes and really be with this present moment gratitude. Allow it to infuse your entire being. Place your hands over your heart and whisper, "Thank you, thank you, thank you," into your heart over and over for a few moments. Feel the gratitude as you begin your inner harvest. Now that we have come back into balance, found gratitude through our inner harvest, and shed and released the past, it's time to look forward now to all that we want autumn to bring us. Let this be our guide to take us through the next few months. Allow this to be a framework that we return back to keep on track and moving in the direction of our dreams. How do we want to feel this autumn? We are now being called back towards the earth, grounding, stilling, and becoming inwardly present. As nature slows down and begins to draw inwards, she encourages us to do the same, moving inwards into our inner world, into our inner strength, power, wisdom, and most of all, to our intuition and inner knowing. It's time to connect back to the magic within us. The equinox brings us a strong foundation to support us through the darkness and depths of winter, giving us the resilience to face the darkness, not just on the outside but also on the inside, to return back to the tender places within us that we have turned from or left unattended through the summer. It's a time of moving into the darkness as a way to truly get back in touch with ourselves, all parts of us. A spiritual practice, or sadhana, is so important during autumn as it helps to support us through the transition and changes that this season brings and prepares us for winter. The word sadhana means daily spiritual practice in Sanskrit, and the idea of this is that for just 15-20 minutes a day, we get to think of us and only us. Truly, a sadhana can be anything that connects us, or you, I'm referring to us, you and me, back to yourself, and there is only one rule, that you commit to it every day no matter what. In this way, it becomes your foundation, your touchstone back to yourself. So thank you, Kirsty Gallagher, for that information. The next bit of information is from exploredeeply.com. Explore deeply the spiritual significance of autumn equinox in our modern lives. And there's different dates. We've had dates ranging from the 21st to the 23rd. We've always known it as the 21st. We were told the 22nd for that one we just read out by Kirsty. So around that time. Ceremonies, nature, rituals, spiritual significance. We are the only true experts on our journey to enlightenment. Filter all information through your own heart. As the sun begins to sink lower in the sky and the night becomes chilly and dark, before we even notice the changing of colours with our eyes, our senses tell us that the energy of summer has come to an end in the northern half of the world. The autumn equinox arrives at 3:30 p.m. Central Europe time on Tuesday, September the 22nd, 2020. The exact time of the fall equinox varies by time zone in North America. Those living in the Eastern time zone will experience the equinox at 9:31 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, officially marking the beginning of fall in the Northern Hemisphere and the start of spring in the Southern Hemisphere. The word equinox comes from Latin and means equal night, referring to the roughly 12-hour day and 12-hour night that occurs only on the 2 equinox days of the year. The autumn equinox is a meaningful time of year to honour the harvest, whether that be a real harvest of the things planted in your garden or the harvest of efforts and intentions for your life path that you set earlier in the year. The changing seasons are key points in the cycle of life in nature, and within this cycle many ancient cultures perceived a powerful, deeper message for humanity. Indigenous cultures recognised earth-based wisdom and understood the 4 focal points of the year: the winter solstice, spring equinox, summer solstice and autumn equinox. Illuminated stages of an inner spiritual journey, a spiritual cycle that the individual takes within themselves. As we consciously link our awareness to nature's cycles, our understanding of our own cycles begin to deepen. A favourite ritual of this lady's is to take the 15 minutes before and the 15 minutes after the precise moment of the equinox, to sit quietly on the ground in thoughtfulness and meditation and open her mind and her senses to the intelligence of nature all around. You can do this anytime. In this time spent in thoughtfulness around the moment of equal light and equal dark, she acknowledges her personal growth cycle and asks for harmony and balance to be the fertiliser in the soil of her life's garden. On the fall equinox, you may want to honour all that you have in your life and shift your consciousness from one of lack to one of prosperity and gratitude in some way through a small ritual or ceremony, such as lighting a candle, giving thanks, and speaking your gratitude for all that you are and all that you have. Spiritually speaking, fall represents the harvest time of year, a time to acknowledge growth and expansion as a natural evolution of being. Our lives go through cycles of growth, harvest, death and rebirth, just as we see in nature. Fall is the time of year that we set up our internal space and make room for what's to come in the next year. We create room for our greater visions to grow by allowing the empty space and silence to take hold of our internal spaces. When we clear our internal ground in the fall, we go into dormancy and then rest in the cold and darkness of winter. We go into hibernation and become creative, but not by doing, by becoming quiet and listening to what is trying to emerge from within us. This is the time of year to go within and empty out space, composting our old ideas and using the energy they hold to make new and fertile soil for new creativity and matured visions. Winter is the time of year for rest, when the cold and freezing becomes the healing that sets the soil for spring and our rebirth. The significance of the autumn equinox for the person walking the spiritual path is the time of year where we activate our new cycle of growth. As we become silent and rest, we are allowing space for our greater vision to emerge. As the days get shorter and the nights grow longer, we descend into the darkness of the night and face our own inner darkness, the darkness within, i.e. the ego and the subconscious, to prepare for the birth of the light within, celebrated at the winter solstice. The heart of spiritual practice is internal and is usually invisible and unnoticed by everyone else. By enacting the spiritual with a physical ritual, we can both recognise and make concrete our spiritual process that is part of our reality as a person on the spiritual path. She encourages us to take some time, September the 22nd this year, to acknowledge our life cycle and spiritual path. In doing so, we are honouring not only our own growth and light within, but the ancient wisdom that has served our health and wellness for thousands of years. I honour the light in you that is the love of all things. Without your existence, the light of the universe would dim and all of existence would miss you. So we've been doing our own, otherwise we were hoping to get this out earlier, before in time, but that's our overactive mind of the many altars. And it's about letting our body lead and the mind catching up with our body rather than vice versa, because the body's tired. And so we were doing our own stuff exactly for these purposes. But when we work with energies and dance with energies, we don't have to do it just at the time that's in harmony and synchronised in alignment with the nature's cycles. It may be that we're in a time and heat of the middle of summer or spring or even winter, that we want to go back and revisit the autumn energies, or you might want to go and you might be in winter and it's too much and you might want to revisit summer energies. So therefore it's good to go and watch something or do something that reminds you of summer, to put you back in that energetic state, to fuel up your energy, to keep you going and lasting through the winter. So energy isn't linear. Energy is something to be embraced when we're lacking those energies of that time, if we're not in complete synchronicity and alignment and we're on a healing journey. So a bit more from her. Although many of us hear the call of our inner desires and dreams, it is often difficult to find the path forward to our own awakening. Learning to explore deeply is opening to the ultimate possibility of your life. Your internal awakening opens the door to a truly unimaginable possibility. When you learn to explore deeply, you uncover your true power and gifts and are able to find meaning in your past failures. This is when you begin to believe in yourself again, and that is when you become powerful beyond belief. Our life purpose is to use our own personal transformation to help transform society. In exploring deeply our own divinity and purposeful gifts, one can find the guidance and resources to bring to life the most extraordinary of dreams. As a mentor and spiritual guide, one of Chloe's specialists is helping individuals learn to source their inner power and answer their own unique calling, so they may experience greater fulfillment in their lives. Thank you, Chloe, from exploredeeply.com. Now, from foreverconscious.com, the Summer Equinox Cosmic Forecast 2020. The equinox is one of the most powerful times of year. It is a day where we experience equal hours of day and night, symbolising both duality and oneness. In 2020, the September equinox falls on the 22nd, activating a powerful configuration with Mars, Mercury, Saturn and Pluto. The configuration of planets is known as a T-square, and while it has been in operation for some time, it will be heightened on this potent magical day. In Vedic astrology, the lunar nodes, or Rahu and Ketu, meaning the head and tail of the dragon, are also changing signs to Taurus and Scorpio around this time. This signifies a major shift in our cosmic destiny on a collective level. While this is specific only to Vedic calculations, it does seem that Western astrology also supports this idea of shift and change. The September equinox is, after all, the halfway point in the astrological year and indicates a change in the flow of energy as we move through this next stage of the cycle. This sense of changing and transitioning energy is also heightened by this T-square of planets. Together, these planets call for us to take action, to make the changes we desire, but to also not rush ahead. It's this interesting dynamic of trusting our impulses and taking a leap of faith, but not getting caught up in ego or acting in haste. We may find ourselves in a position where we have to make a decision, or we may find ourselves in a position where we have to be patient and not rush ahead. When the universe presents these opposing forces, the only thing we can do is trust our own intuition. This change in energy is mirrored by Mother Earth too, for the equinox also brings the start of a new season in certain countries. In the Northern Hemisphere, there is a shift to the season of autumn. The leaves begin changing colour, preparing for their death. The weather begins getting colder, reminding us that winter is on the way. In the Southern Hemisphere, there is a shift to the season of spring. The buds begin returning to the trees, preparing for a rebirth, and the weather begins to get warmer, reminding us that summer is on the way. While the location you live in can be your guide as to the direction the energies are flowing in, chances are you will need to embrace a little bit of both. We lived in New Zealand for 3 years and the energies there suited us so much better. You can tell physically the energy is different by watching the water go down the plug hole. So it'll go down the plug hole one way up in the Northern Hemisphere and a different way on the Southern Hemisphere. And so for our specific energetic makeup in this body, living in the Southern Hemisphere suited us so much better and we're so much happier. So I know for me in this body that throughout this autumn time and this winter time, it will be good to visit things to do with the Southern Hemisphere, especially New Zealand for us. So we could be watching, if we watch our tarot and stuff on YouTube, we could actually watch Kiwis and Australians tarot YouTubers, and that would then we can feed off their energy in a way to balance out our energy so we don't go too inwards and too dark. Traditionally, the equinox is also seen as a time where the veil between dimensions grows thin, as it represents this idea of light and dark coming into balance. It is also a reminder that one can't exist without the other, and the more information I learn on this and reflect back to the times before the psych ward experience and my physical health with the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, I'm starting to comprehend a lot more about energies and why stuff happened how it did, but we won't go into that now. It is only when we have basked in the shadows that we can fully appreciate the light. It is only once we have ventured into the light that we can fully understand the shadows. While the idea of both light and dark are very real to us on this dimension, they are an illusion. From oneness all things are born. On the equinox, with the thinning veil, we can connect to the oneness within and around us. We can also more easily connect with the wisdom of our ancestors and our loved ones on the other side. And this veil they talk about is exceptionally thin at the end of October, Halloween. The equinox can also bring third eye activations, making it easier for us to tune into the wisdom of our intuition and psychic abilities. The coming weeks following the equinox may feel like an uphill journey as we get used to the transitioning energies. Each day may bring its own feeling, so be present. Sit with your impulses and inspirations. Don't be afraid to act, but try to balance fiery actions with some grounded energy too. Thank you, foreverconscious.com. And the last one is from Moon Omens, moonomens.com. September equinox, the spiritual meaning of equinoxes. On September the 22nd, at 9:31 a.m. ET, the equinox is taking place. Equinoxes have been celebrated for millennia. They were considered among the most important days of the year in many esoteric and pagan traditions. As they have a specific and powerful spiritual meaning, each year we witness 2 equinoxes, one in March and one in September. The autumnal equinox is commonly referred to as Mabon, or second harvest in pagan mythology, while the spring equinox is also known as Ostara. The equinox is traditionally considered a time of transition, contemplation, gratitude and a fresh start. As we enjoy the results of the work we have done so far, we also have the chance to let go of what we no longer want to bring with us and start anew. A new cycle of growth. An energetic portal opens, giving us the opportunity to align with the cosmic flow and make significant changes in our lives. September equinox, aligning to the cycles of nature. What happens in nature at this time of the year reflects what happens within each and every one of us. No matter where in the globe you live, we are all experiencing an inner shift. September equinox inaugurates a time of metamorphosis and spiritual growth. For those of us in the northern hemisphere, autumn begins. From now on, days get shorter, temperatures drop, and after being out and about during summer, we naturally feel the need to retreat, to spend more time at home and with our loved ones. The autumnal equinox represents a time of harvest that inaugurates the preparation for wintertime and the colder months. We are entering an introspective and reflective phase. We are encouraged to cultivate gratitude, to appreciate the progress we have done and shift our focus within to integrate the experiences we made. In the southern hemisphere, the vernal equinox now occurs. This astronomical event signals the arrival of spring. Slowly, nature starts blooming while animals wake up and begin mating. Days will be longer and warmer and the hours of light available will increase. Everyone feels more energetic, enthusiastic and lively. The spring equinox symbolises a fresh start, the beginning of a phase of exploration and curiosity. It is traditionally associated with purification and rebirth, and it represents the perfect time for energetically cleansing your body and your home. Finding balance between light and darkness. The word equinox means equal night in Latin. On an equinox, the sun is in perfect alignment with the equator. For this reason, day and night have nearly the same length. It's not a coincidence that equinoxes correspond to the beginning of Aries season and Libra season. The zodiac signs representing the south and the other. Aries and Libra are both cardinal signs that mark the beginning of seasons and the start of a new cycle of growth. On an equinox, we witness a rare balance between light and dark that has the potential to increase our self-awareness, allowing us to meet our own shadow with compassion. Any equinox represents an invitation to reflect upon any imbalances in our personal lives and our relationships with other people. During the transit of the sun through Libra, we have the chance to work on what comes up and develop more self-awareness. The energetic portal opening on the equinox facilitates deeper levels of understanding of ourselves, of other people, and of the unconscious dynamics at play in any situation, offering us a fantastic opportunity to balance our inner masculine and inner feminine energies. The history of equinoxes. Ancient and sophisticated observatories of the sky can be found all over the world. People were aware of the fact that the locations of sunrise and sunset changed slightly day by day, and they built specific sacred sites to measure and celebrate the changing of seasons. In several places in Europe, people used huge stones to build circular monuments that, thanks to their perfect alignment with the movements of the sun, would signal the arrival of the solstice or the equinox. Stonehenge is one of the most famous ancient astronomical and sacred sites, composed of huge monoliths placed in concentric rings. Modern pagans and druids still gather there nowadays, waiting for the sun to rise on the solstice or equinox, performing rituals and celebrations of the harvest season. Native American tribes of the Northern Hemisphere have been performing harvest rituals for a very long time at this moment of the year. The harvest full moon is the one closest to the equinox and represents the peak moment of their celebrations during their ceremonies. Happening only after the harvest has been stored and processed, people of the community gather and bring offerings for the elders of the tribe, for the ancestors and for spirit. Everybody honours the earth and gives thanks for the abundance she blesses us with. In the southern hemisphere, Incas used to honour the equinoxes on top of the sacred mountain of Machu Picchu in Peru. There, they placed a giant stone known as Intihuatana. Each year at noon on each equinox, the shadow of Intihuatana disappears, signalling the exact alignment of the sun with the equator. Their holy stone forms an exact alignment with the cardinal points north, south, east and west. Each one of them marks either a solstice or an equinox, hence the beginning of a season. Australian Aboriginals have celebrated Ostara as a time of renewal and rebirth for thousands of years. Sacred astronomical sites have been found throughout Australia too, where huge stones were positioned in perfect alignment with the rays of the sun during equinoxes and solstices. Ancient peoples would gather at these spots to anticipate and celebrate the change of season. For some of them, this represented a time to seek out new food supplies and change their habitual routines. September equinox. Attuning with the energy of the sun. For thousands of years, cultures all over the world have honoured the changing of the seasons. This was a way to keep track of time and to celebrate the journey of the earth around the sun, source of life, light and vitality for all beings. In the past, people believed that during solstices and equinoxes, the veil between dimensions gets thinner and it becomes easier to contact and communicate with entities, spirits and beings from other planes. This is an extremely potent time that we can harness to align with the energies of the sun, and performing healing practices such as sun gazing at sunrise or sunset. Sun gazing has the potential to raise our vibration, remove energetic blockages and facilitate the activation of our pineal gland and third eye chakra. Yeah, we've seen some amazing things doing that. We actually saw one time an actual portal of the sun and the light change from the white blob or yellowy blob into a wormhole. It was quite incredible. September, that was an open-eyed meditation. September equinox represents an invitation to attune and synchronise with the frequency of the cosmos and to set specific intentions for our spiritual journey. In what areas of life do you want to shine? How do you want to be seen? What do you want to manifest on your path? Where do you feel you have more room for growth? How are you choosing to expand? Spiritual growth, facing darkness and embracing light. In ancient Greek mythology, the autumn equinox marks the beginning of the 6-month period that Persephone spent into the underworld with her husband, Hades, corresponding to the planet Pluto in modern astrology. Demeter, goddess of agriculture and fertility and mother of Persephone, would mourn the loss of her daughter by making the earth infertile during autumn and winter. In the Northern Hemisphere, Mabon reminds us that the descent into the shadows is a necessary rite of passage, an integral part of our ascension. Moon time! Perfect. An integral part of our ascension process. The moon, the feminine energies, receptive, nurturing, our emotional body, our inner world. Yin. The dark, black, with the little bit of white dot in the middle. Yeah. Yet, just as the sun after winter time, we will rise from the darkness stronger and wiser. In the southern hemisphere, Ostara represents the return of Persephone from the underworld. The earth blooms on the spring equinox as Demeter gets to see her daughter again for the next 6 months. Ostara reminds us that there can't be darkness without light, and vice versa, and that, after a period of grieving and crisis, abundance and joy will be available to us again. Quote by Barry H. Gillespie, "The path isn't a straight line, it's a spiral. You continually come back to things you thought you understood and see deeper truths." Barry H. Gillespie. The only constant is change. At this time, some of us may feel that we are going backwards, but we are actually progressing. So it's kind of like the retrograde planets. They appear like they're going backwards, but they don't go backwards. They just come to such a slow point of inertia, but it looks like that. But that's a time when we go in and progress more with those energies, because they're not active on the external, they're active on the internal, which is unseen, unaware, subconscious, like the iceberg. The bottom of the iceberg under the sea, the ocean. The ocean represents consciousness. The spiritual teaching of equinoxes is that light and darkness are equally important for our growth. Going through a dark night of the soul or a difficult phase of our life doesn't mean we are not in alignment with our path. It is often the opposite. We are at a turning point in human history. The darkness that has been long hidden is emerging, and it is now impossible to ignore or bypass. The equinox encourages us to understand that facing our personal and collective shadow is part of the journey. The cosmic energies of this moment support our search for balance and inner alignment during these uncertain and volatile times, and reminds us that light will always find a way. Okay, so the information and knowledge out the time for the reading. All these cards were pulled this morning, the void of course moon. It was about 6:30 a.m. I didn't think we'd be able to manage to get up. Mind you, we didn't have to get up for that. We didn't set any alarms, but we had to go to the toilet. So if we had to make ourselves get up, I don't think it would have worked, because we were already up. We had to just use our willpower to stay up and do things. And so we did, and we managed it. So I'm very impressed. So we were given 3 cards. The 6 of water, which is the one you're looking at. Another 6. 6 of air, which we've had before. I think this was the Moon in Aquarius transit reading. So we won't be doing the full one of this. You can go to that if you want the full one, but we will do the brief ones again. And I think this one was the Moon in Aries transit. I can't quite remember. And it's the 2 of fire. I love these cards. They're so beautiful. So we will read those out in a minute. We've got the 3 of the bottom, the subconscious, and the 3 of the top, the conscious awareness. So to start with, I'm going to do the seen. Now we'll do the bottom. We'll do the unseen, the unaware, the subconscious. So we'll start from the third one inwards rather than the actual one right on the bottom. So the third one inwards of the spectrum of energies, the underline for the reason for the reading, was 9, knowledge. Which is very fitting. Aligned with the September monthly Sun and Libra energies. I think, or was it the Aquarius? I think it might have been the Moon in Aquarius, actually. I think it was the Moon in Aquarius, which was the 3. I can't remember. I've done a few now. You'd have to go back to it. But that was education. So this is one of the major arcanas. We have 10 on the number 10 on the top, and we had 12 and 13 on our other reading earlier as well. Key words. 9. We're currently in the 9/9 portal as well. It closes tomorrow on the way we dance with it, because it's the 27th tomorrow, and 27 adds up to 9, and then we go on to the 28th, which adds up to 10. So it starts on the 9th, the balance point's the 18th, and the close-off point's the 27th. That's how we dance with these numerological number energies. 9 is, as we know it, completion in the physical form, the physical world, 3D. So knowledge, number 9. Keywords: knowledge, skills, understanding, training, education, and practical experience. Key phrases: we exist to learn, as we learn to exist. Knowledge is power. Has your past education served you? Do not limit your potential for learning. A time of new study and learning. An opportunity to learn about people and the world. Surround yourself with books and information. Does bias and unfounded prejudice close you to new knowledge? Improve upon the knowledge that you have. Where is your knowledge taking you? Does what you are learning now serve a practical purpose? Create a better future by continuing your studies. So that was number 9 of the major arcana, knowledge. If you actually go into number 9 is the Hermit, I'm pretty sure, of the traditional Rider Waite. So the second from the bottom of the spectrum of energies, the 10 of water. And we've had this one just the other day, I do believe. Oh, nope. Falling on a candle, we don't want that. The candles seem to be hotter than they were before. So again, we'll just read the key words and the key phrases. We've actually got the link for this in below, so you can click on the link below if you want the full reading of this one. 10 of water, key words: universal love, divine connection, centeredness, serenity, peace, oneness, boundaries, disruption. So this integrates and collaborates really well with the Moon in Aquarius reading done this morning with the Fibonacci sets, because 21/34, 5, the golden ratio, we use as us getting to aligning and finding our centre of balance. Key phrases: truly living in the present, a feeling of divine connection, a time of serenity and ease, power born of knowledge and understanding, a positive emotional state, the power to consciously project your energy, say no to disruptive influences, giving life and power to shadows. Number 10 of water. I do love this card. And then the very bottom card, the first bottom card, was the 8 of fire. 8 is the number of manifestation, a linear system thinking number, but a feminine number because it's made of curves and not lines. Infinity, balance, manifestation. 8 of fire, keywords, action, change, transformation, transmutation, rebirth, freedom, renewed purpose, joy. Key phrases: transformation through action, change on a physical level, it's time to act, give something a new purpose, transmute negative energy, a renewed sense of purpose, don't be lazy, inaction may yield unwelcome changes. The 8 of fire. So now we go up to the top of the pack, the conscious, the unseen, the conscious, the aware, the seen. Reason for the reading, and that's the 7 of water. So 7 is a very spiritual number, 7 days in a week. Self-development, self-growth. 7 of water, keywords, knowing, trust, faith, surrender, brackets, control, release, peace, certainty, passive. Key phrases: surrender to the flow of life, relinquish the need to control, all happens as it is meant to. The future will bring what you need, not what you want. Control is an illusion. Your influence on the future is limited. Yield and be flexible. A gentle, passive approach. And then this was the next one. So we had number 9 before, knowledge. And then this one, the second from the top card. It's wisdom, number 10. And 10 in the traditional Rider-Waite tarot is the wheel of fortune, which is the change in cycles, the change in seasons. And it's the number of karmic completion. It has 9, so spiritual completion, past lessons completion, and made of new beginnings, 1, and 0, unity, equaling 1, new beginnings, fresh starts. So the end is the same as the beginning, hence the wheel. Life isn't linear, it's circular, with a twist in it. Wisdom, keywords, knowledge, understanding, awareness, self-knowledge, illumination, introspection, withdrawal, insight, common sense. Key phrases: you are here to become wise. Knowledge does not make you wise. Wisdom is learning from one's mistakes. Apply knowledge, logic and common sense. Learn from more than just books. Seek out your elders. Time to break a cycle. Wisdom is understanding. Wisdom is loving the whole. Know and love your shadow. You have unlimited potential. The road ahead leads to many destinations. For us, the journey is the destination. And then the very top card, this very top, seen, aware, is 13, the Queen of Earth. Keywords: Earth Mother, pragmatic, real, kind, nurturing, abundant, fertile mind, wise. Key phrases: touch, connect and create with your hands. Be supportive and nurturing. Share the responsibilities. Mother, do not smother. You are loved and supported. Kindness is required. A need for wise and honest counsel. Seek out a motherly role model. So now, beautiful cards. We'll read the keywords and key phrases of the Two of Fire. So we were actually given 3. This one, the 6 of Air, the Two of Fire, the 6 of Air and the 6 of Water. So the Two of Fire. Keywords: power sharing, mentorship, partnerships, equality, teamwork, mutual interests, ambition, control. Someone who will help you overcome obstacles. An equal exchange of energy. Seek one who will teach much needed skills. A struggle for power. A time for teamwork and cooperation. 2 heads are better than 1. A power sharing situation. Align yourself with another. And then the 6 of Air. Again, the links are below for these two if you are resonating with these vibrational words and you want to hear the whole reading. Keywords: solutions, comparisons, compromise, open-mindedness, mindfulness, illumination, epiphany, personal power. Do not discredit what others offer. Step into your personal power. A moment of epiphany. Don't let rigidity hamper possible success. Be willing to compromise. Weigh the pros and cons. Look at and compare a range of options. A time of research and investigation. And then the 6 of Water. She's lovingly asking you to come with her into the depths of your subconscious psyche. So it's okay, it's not scary. There's a stigma still attached with the underworld and darkness and shadow work, but everyone's darkness is different. It's what's relative to them in an individual way. 6 of Water. Key words: kindness, concern, sympathy, compassion, understanding, forgiveness, love, ideals. Key phrases: the ideal of kindness and compassion. See all that is good and pure in humanity. Be kind and walk away. Do not meet aggression with aggression. Overcome obstacles with gentle determination. Accept that you will falter. Embrace healthy boundaries. Strive to be better. Potential energy blockage. When the 7 of Water, and when there's sorry, gone on too far there, too many pages, there we go. When the 6 of Water has an energetic blockage, there's a very simple message and meaning. It does not serve us well to give in to the desire to inflict hurt just because we believe someone to be deserving of it. We may feel that we are justified, But what purpose does an act of spiteful retaliation serve but to make us less and perpetuate suffering? It can also be said that it makes us energetically the same as the person who harmed us. Therefore, the Six of Water comes to caution against embracing pettiness and retaliation, regardless of the circumstances. There is always a better option than an act of spite. Anger used in this manner is rarely beneficial or healing. Instead, it perpetuates suffering. There are none who can remain untouched when cruelty is offered. Both the person who inflicts it and the person it is inflicted upon will be marked by it. If revenge is desired, the best revenge we can mete out to anyone meet out to anyone who has hurt and upset us is to remain peaceful and emotionally detached. We can choose to be kind to ourselves, to end our suffering by walking away, and investing our time and emotion in something more worthy. Meaning. The Six of Water is the epitome of kindness and concern. She represents all that is good and pure within humanity, and an ideal that many strive to meet. She is kind, but not to a fault. She displays concern and care, but does so with a level of emotional detachment. She is sympathetic, compassionate and giving, but not to the extent that she leaves nothing for herself. She is understanding and aware that we all think, believe and see life in a unique way, and that this determines how we behave and respond to others. She is forgiving, but forgives because she knows the act sets her free and enables her to move forward without being weighed down by past experiences. She is a gentle soul who overcomes all obstacles with a determination that is free of any aggression or intent to do harm. She is the peaceful warrior who wins all with a gentle touch or smile, a kind word and a compassionate, generous nature. Does she represent an impossible ideal? Do you strive to be like her and find yourself incapable of behaving this way all of the time? The Six of Water comes to tell you to just be you. Show compassion, be empathetic, understanding and aware of all that makes us different. Be generous, but remember to keep healthy boundaries in place. Most importantly, be kind to yourself when you don't live up to your own sometimes impossible ideals. To be the peaceful warrior, you have to be as kind and generous to yourself as you are to others. And what we're learning is we have to be that to ourselves first. And we've only learnt that by being that to everyone else first. Namaste. Enjoy and embrace the equinox energies, whichever hemisphere you are on. Embrace your path and journey to your fullest unique potential, starting by loving yourself first. With so much gratitude for liking, sharing and subscribing. Really helps us younger alters feel recognised and validated, and helps support them in the growing up of their generational consciousness. So much appreciation for that. Namaste, Zanoni Snowflake.